All right. You want to hop into it?
Sure.
All right. So our topic for today is we're going to talk about just Christians and how they're portrayed in the media. I think that, whether you believe in God or you don't, you have to admit that there is a big discrepancy on how Christians are treated and how folks who are literally not Christians are treated. I'm not even talking about like unreligious. I'm talking about like you could be Buddhist, Muslim, Hindi, anyway. They get treated way differently in the media than Christians do. Like how do you see for yourself, like, do you feel like Christians get treated differently or like,
I think
what's that look
it's
like
interesting because Christianity has become more popular. It's just been more of a topic in social media and just the news today. I think especially because of The Chosen, now that that's like the biggest fan-based show to ever make it. And so naturally the topic of Jesus has brought up a lot. And I like The Chosen. I think it's great.
Shout out my man Dallas. He don't know me, but that's my man.
And it's interesting though, because while there's a big rise in the Christian shows and media, there's also been a rise in just anti-Christian things. And specifically what kind of jump-started our topic today was seeing Taylor Swift's new album.
Yep.
Who she's pretty, we know she likes to write about love songs and her exes. And some of her songs, they just, my inner 12-year-old girl's like, yes, Taylor
You're having
Swift.
a moment right now.
But it is really interesting to see what she had said about it. And I think it's not a surprise that people who grew up in the church with such religious, super hypocritical Christian people are like, well, yeah, now I don't want anything to do with that,
Right.
And I think there's a lot of flamboyance in our new generation and the younger generation. You can just see it with like the way you're dressed and the style.
Right.
It kind of reminds me of 80s a little bit just because it's bigger, brighter colors and just more flamboyant, I guess is the best word to describe it. And I think it's kind of a way to push back against the traditional norms of parents because that's just what teenagers do. And naturally, parents grew up in church when we're very religious focused, or at least it was considered a norm.
Right.
And so I think social media is run by a lot of younger people like us and people younger than us too that don't want to be associated with their parents and don't want to be associated with all these old traditions. And so all that to say is I think social media kind of has either really strong Christian groups where it's like, yes, chosen, yes, this and that, Jesus is coming back. There's a solar eclipse. Look out. Jesus is coming.
Right.
And there's the total opposite where it's like, oh, well, Christians hate everyone and they do this and that and that. And so it really feels like there's no in between anymore.
Right. And what's crazy is they'll describe their Christian hate as religion. I was doing some research and honestly, like when you hear people bashing Christianity, they'll be like, oh, they're bashing religion. They don't believe in religion, but they're not. It's very, very specific, because religion would be like, okay, that means that you're equally slamming on Buddhists, you're equally slamming on Muslims, you're equally slamming on whatever other religion, but it's just Christianity or Catholicism. They're the ones, and it's like, oh, it's just religion, but it's not. I would honestly have less of a problem with that. I'm like, look, if in your movies, in your media, because when you look at movies, the bad guy's always Christian. Always. It's a priest. Like when you look at like the horror movies and it's always like, oh, this dude's a priest. Okay, he's probably the bad guy.
Right.
He's either the bad guy or he's the one who's going to like go crazy and try to like kill the protagonist for their God or whatever. Or God told me to, kill all of you guys and all y'all are sinners and going to hell. Like, know.
Yes.
It's like there's not a good representation of Christianity and people are so bold with it, but they'll say that it's religion.